Hello everyone, welcome to Toyeen Talks. Báwo ló ṣe ń lọ lọ́dọ̀ yín? Okay, this is just a quick one. I'd like to thank you all for watching. Till I'll see you in my next video. Stay safe, stay blessed. I love you all. Bye.
Any sitting, the court will demand for appearances. I'm stating it categorically for the sake of people who do not know how things. Let me just break it down so that everybody will understand. When a sitting is going to start, everyone will.
Sorry, my darling, we can't attend to you now. I hope you had fun at Queen Latifah, but we can't attend to you now. We want to listen to the feedback from the inquest. So I will ask you later, maybe tomorrow. Thank you. God bless you. Greet brought my uncle for me. Okay, go ahead, Biodun.
Okay, so the first appearance was Shittu representing Mohbad's family. Please note. So Shittu came with his learned friends, Don Akayibo, Emmanuel Okefo, Monisola Odumosu, Oluyemi Sanusi, and Joy Ikeruki. So they came to represent Mohbad's family. So there's Kabi Akinbola and MKO Orire representing Wumi Aloba and Liam Aloba. There is Olarunke Adeoti and Oluwasomi. Okay, Olarunke Adeoti came to represent Mohbad's lawyer, Oluwasomi Falade. So Mohbad's lawyer was in court today. Then there's Adams Agata, who came to represent Iya Mohbad. Akipelu Ogundano, with his learned colleague, came to represent Prime Boy. There is K. Nowola and Abiodun Kolawole came to represent African Women's Association of Women. African Women Association of Women Lawyers. African Association of Women Lawyers. There is CC Unwachuku with his learned colleague came to represent Darusha. There is OSA and Romolaro and his learned colleagues CI Elekwasi and EE Ngwobo came to represent Nigerian Bar Association. Then there's ON Unwobi and his learned friends who came to represent Abdulatif, aka Naira Mali, Abdulatif Fashola, aka Naira Mali, and Eletu Samuel, aka Sam Larry. Then there is I didn't get some. Keno Walla came to represent the nurse. So the nurse was not in court, but she was ably represented. Naira Mali and Sam Larry was not in court. They were not in court, but they came to represent. They were represented. That means that they did not ignore. What's it called? The summon. Then, who else was in court? The lawyer, Mohbad's lawyer, Falade, is in court. Then, Wumi Aloba came to court as one of the these are the respondents now, the witnesses. Wumi Aloba, Oluwasomi Falade, the nurse, Naira Mali. Prime Boy was also in court. Those are the people I can recognize so far. Nigerian Bar Association and the rest. So please note that means that on this inquest, there are enough representation from all angles. You see, it was San Wahab who opened the floor, and he told the court that he received a stay of execution. And the magistrate asked if any other lawyers also received execution. Because the court said that she did not receive as at the time she was asking. And none of the lawyers received either. It was only sent to Shittu on WhatsApp. The magistrate wanted to take she was ready to take as many witnesses as possible today. So she insisted, because she said it took her, in her words, she said it took her a lot to get the pathologist to attend today's inquest. So she was willing to make sure that the testimony of the pathologist was taken. Before I proceed, this is what I think they were trying to do. They knew that there was no way they could have pushed not taking the pathologist, not making the pathologist come to inquest today, because they know it's going to raise an uproar. And they know that Shittu, his presence in the court today, will be, it will thrill the pathologist. So they wanted him to stay off the court, my opinion. So that, because he was the only one who received that stay, nobody else received, not even the coroner. And because of that motion from a higher court, they would have taken the cross-examination of the pathologist without Shittu. Maybe in another 4 or 5 sitting, we are still trying to get the pathologist to come again. But luckily, Shittu said, "My lord, I will receive the stay." The magistrate said, "I did not receive it. So I'm going to act now and take as many testimonies of witnesses as possible so that this court can move faster." She reiterated again, the whole world is watching from here. And she's conscious of that fact. I'm very sure that she also, she's aware that international bodies, she doesn't know who is who sitting in the court. And our submissions, the way she handles the matter might be studied. So she's always consciously telling people that, hey, the international, this Mohbad's matter has become an international sensation that everyone is interested. And she's always calling the attention of anybody who wants to drag the case here and there. And so she decided to proceed. So it started with the cross-examination of the pathologist. Shittu asked how long has he been practicing as a pathologist and a toxicologist. So he stated that he is not a toxicologist, he is a pathologist. But the toxicology, the report, the autopsy report was signed by him. The autopsy report, or the report that was submitted to the court, contains the autopsy, the pathology, and the toxicology reports. But he signed the entire document. So Shittu asked him how long he's been practicing. He said he's been practicing since 2010. That makes him 14 years as a pathologist. So we can say to a degree, I assume we're talking to an expert in the field who knows what he's doing. So Shittu started referring him to the content of his report, starting with page 2, where it was stated that Mohbad sustained injury at the back of the hand. And sudden convulsion. I'm still waiting to read the autopsy. I've not read it, but I think, with the way it was cross-examined, I can get a lot of facts from that report. On page 2 of the toxicology report, or the autopsy report, or whatever, the report, let me call it report for flow of this conversation. The report, on the page 2 of the report, it was stated that Mohbad had an injury to the back of his hand and sudden convulsion. It confirmed yes. Then Shittu started with the histology. The histology report is an overview, a report of his internal organs. It started with the heart. According to the report, their inference, after checking Mohbad's heart, they said they noticed moderate to severe autolysis. And Shittu asking, if somebody had moderate to severe autolysis, can it cause death? He said yes. Please note his answers. Then they moved to his lungs. According to the report, they said the lungs also was diagnosed or was examined, and the report is moderate to severe autolysis. Then they asked him again, if somebody had this kind of report, can it kill? He said yes. They moved to his spleen. The remark, according to the report, is that it's moderate to severe autolysis. Can it cause the death of Mohbad? He also said yes. Now back to his adrenal glands. So Shittu explained the function of what the spleen does to the body, and all these, internal organs, the heart. We all know what the heart does. The lungs. When they say your lungs, add moderate to severe autolysis, can it kill? He said yes. Then to his adrenal glands, the same moderate to severe autolysis. He said yes. They moved to his pancreas. The report is that it's moderate to severe autolysis. He said yes. Can it kill? Yes. They moved to the kidney. The report says it contains moderate to severe autolysis. Then Wahab asked the pathologist again, with this report, could it be the cause of death of somebody? He said yes. They now move to page 8. They asked the pathologist, apart from the superficial injuries to the hand, was there any other? Can the injury kill? He said no. Wahab said, I'm not asking if, he said the wound on Mohbad, his answer is the wound on Mohbad's hand is a minor injury and it cannot kill. He said no. What he's asking, if there's an injury, a puncture to the body, can it kill? He said yes. Then they now ask him that he said that after Mohbad was exhumed, that there was no blood. So all the tests he carried out, where did he get the blood from? Because he kept reiterating. He corrected a general opinion. He said when Mohbad was exhumed, that what was found on Mohbad's casket was not blood. That because there was no blood in Mohbad's body. That was what he was trying to say in summary. But if you are going to conduct a test, you will need blood. Did he use blood? He said yes. So where did he get the blood from? He said he opened the blood vessel and he picked out blood. You see, the pathologist was crossed between telling us there was no blood, yet they conducted tests. So what did you use for your test? So I would say it wasn't speaking the truth. It was torn between there was no blood. He kept saying there was no blood, but yet they needed blood to have carried out some of the samples, some of the tests. So he said he opened up the blood vessel and he picked sample of blood. So by my own opinion, whatever it is, no blood in Mohbad's body, but his blood vessel was open and they collected blood. It is safe to say there is blood. So now part of the report, is the first is the pathology, the second is the toxicology. The toxicology report, it was referred to the publication in the Punch newspaper. They asked him, did you read this report? Are you aware of it? He said, yes, he's aware. Then, the claim in the toxicology, according to NMS lab, that is a lab in Pennsylvania, in the US, where they said they took the report for toxicology test. They asked him if he was aware that the lab had denied that there was no toxicology report for he said yes, that he read the report. They now asked him what his take was or is on the statement. He said in his exact words that they read the report. Actually, the report, the Mohbad sample was taken to the lab, but Mohbad's name was not used on the sample. When people now started grumbling, that died with him. And the people who requested did not have authorization. And that is why NMS Lab said that the samples were not there. He was trying to find a plausible deniability for the report. So Shittu now put it to him that he should look at the toxicology report in his hand. There was a stamp. There were supposed to be two stamps there. A stamp of the DNA lab who conducted the histology here in Lagos, and a stamp of the NMS lab who conducted the toxicology. But the stamp of NMS is missing on the reports. And he said the fact that there is no stamp does not invalidate the reports. That sometimes they may not put stamp. Barrister Shittu was trying to tell him that he should go and read the rebuttal on the what's it called, in the Punch newspaper, where the NMS lab denied having knowledge of a toxicology that was done by NMS lab. That you should look, and that letter, that their claim or their report on it was stamped. Then why is it that a whole lab in the US will conduct a toxicology? Because he attached it to the report, conducted a toxicology, and was not stamped. He couldn't, validate it, but he said it doesn't invalidate the report. So they moved on. Now, they moved to the drugs that was found in Mohbad's system. But before they moved on to the drugs, you see, the toxicology report had a recommendation. And the recommendation is that the test that has been conducted should be subjected to a more advanced test. It was boldly written in the toxicology report. It was written that further tests should be carried out. Shittu now has a pathologist. Was this test carried out? He said no, that the test was not done. He was saying, I'm not the pathologist. I'm not the toxicologist. But the overall report was signed by you. This is what I thought played out when they brought Mohbad's body for autopsy, toxicology, and pathology. I think it's a responsibility, because Abiodun Kolawole, while he was cross-examining the pathologist, they asked for standard operation procedure. conduct all these tests, what do? When he was talking, he was the one who collects samples from the body, and he will use his own to conduct his pathology test. He will send report for toxicology to, and because he's not a toxicologist, to another facility. But his own is to conduct the autopsy and the pathology. So when you send a report out, they will examine the sample you have sent to them, and the sample was his gastric content. That was this content in his stomach at the time of death, urine, blood sample, and some tissue. They will send it out to toxicology. So toxicology will examine that report and send it back to the pathology and say, oh, this is what we have seen and this is what we are recommending that you do. Then you can create a report. Injection that was found in Mohbad's body. They said there was paracetamol, there was piritin, and there was antitetanus. Then they said, I'm not sure which one is the antihistamine who has effect of drowsiness. Okay, I think it's the piritin, the ceftriaxone, has, effect of drowsiness in the body. He said yes. Then they said if it was given, listen, everybody. So Wahab said if it was given in an overdose, can it cause death? He said yes. I stomach that. If it was given in overdose, can it cause death? He said yes. Then at this point, the interesting part of the inquest started. Barrister Shittu put it to the pathologist that when the toxicology report came back for further tests, did you carry it out? He said no. And you came with a report. He said yes. Then they now asked him, so why did you conclude that the cause of death for Mohbad is inconclusive? Because in the first place, the report you have given is an inconclusive report. So on that premise, you are going to give an inconclusive report. He said, actually, the reason why the test, because one thing about the court, when you're under cross-examination, when they ask you a question, you answer yes or no. If it is yes, you will explain. If it is no, you will explain. But you first of all answer if it is a yes or a no. So every question it was asked was first a yes or a no. So we already know our answer. So it will now explain what is yes means or what is no means. They now put it to him. Okay, so he said that he did not conduct the test. If you didn't conduct the test, how did you conclude that the cause of death for Mohbad is inconclusive? He said based on the report given to him, or the report before him, the cause of death is inconclusive. They now asked him to explain further. He said the tests. Then Barrister Shittu told him of some modern techniques that are available. In fact, he has done his own work. He was given those terminologies, do you understand, further tests that could have been carried out to review all those gray areas. He said those kind of tests are not available in Nigeria. In fact, the tests are not even available in Africa. They put it to him. So does it mean that if we need to ascertain the cause of death, and we really want to know, since your report that is work in progress is still inconclusive, is it safe that we carry Mohbad out of this country to a place where we can find the modern technology or technique the modern technology or technique that can reveal the cause of death. Since yours is unknown, it's inconclusive. Instead, yes, it's either we carry Mohbad out or we bring the expert from abroad. Do you understand? So, it's also putting it to him again that his report is inconclusive. And as a professional, when they have given you further recommendation and you have not carried it out, you are supposed to admit as a professional that, A, my job was done based on the available facility that I have, but that is not the best that is available to give me a conclusive cause of death. He was dribbling around it, but I like the fact that Barrister Shittu insisted, you understand, and make him answer those questions. At the end of the day, he admitted that further tests could have been carried out to ascertain the cause of death. So he agreed at the end of the day that his report is inconclusive. It's still work in progress. And he put it to him that he had come to the court to, to lie to the court, to deceive the court. Because you have come before a coroner and you have come with an inconclusive report. If you come to coroner with an inconclusive report, is it with the intention to deceive the world? They're trying to deceive us. Your report is incomplete. Why did you not say that the death is inconclusive? At the end of the day, they now started asking him more questions. One of the questions was, they told him that NMS has 3 facilities in the USA. Which one of them did they take Mohbad's sample to? He said he does not know. They asked him, which, NMS lab.
He said he doesn't know.
Facilities.
Yeah.
He said he does not know. That was what he said. Page 9 of the reports. They also reported that Mohbad had a fatal reaction to drugs. Initially, there were 3 drugs in his body. Paracetamol, antitetanus, and septazole, Piriton. So, on page 9 of the report, they reported that Mohbad, one of the inferences that was drawn, that he had a fatal reaction to drugs. They asked him that fatal reaction to drugs, could it be a possibility for the cause of death? He said yes. Then they asked him again, why are you saying that the death is inconclusive? You told us that the spleen, the liver, the pancreas, the adrenal glands, all had severe to moderate to severe autolysis. Yet you said that the cause of death is unknown. It's inconclusive. So that means that their inferences and their conclusions, they are 2 parallel lines. You are the one who said he showed severe to moderate to severe autolysis in his heart, in his lungs, in his pancreas, in his spleen, in his adrenal glands. But yet, you don't know the cause of death. It's just like a groom went to do wedding. What is the name of your bride? Say, I don't know.
I don't know.
And you are getting married. So what do you know? So they now said, they asked him, okay, a fatal reaction to drugs. Which of the drugs? They said Piriton. A high dosage of Piriton in the body. Could it cause death? He said yes. They asked him if there were other procedures as recommended by the toxicologist. No, they asked him that what other procedure is available in Nigeria that he could have used to support the procedure that was previously done, that came up with this report. He said there could be X-ray, there could be microbiological investigation, and there could be virtual autopsy. They asked him, did you conduct any of this? He said no, he didn't. So that means that there are other procedures that could have been used that was not done. Okay. Barrister Shittu again reiterated that his report is still work in progress. So it cannot be admissible. It's not admissible. It cannot be admitted in the courts. Then he read out a likely test that could have been done. I didn't get that name of the test, but I could ask one or two people to get the name later, and he said it wasn't done. They asked him if the toxicology report that was forwarded to him, further recommendation that was advised, was it done? He said no. Then they talked about manner of death and cause of death. They asked him if they were the same. He said no. Then manner of death is what exactly? You see, they were trying to let him know the meaning of inconclusive. They said, okay, we are students of English. Do you agree that inconclusive means uncertain? He said yes. Unconfirmed? He said yes. Unknown? He said, I don't think so. But it's synonyms. If something is inconclusive, you can say it's uncertain, it's unconfirmed, or it's unknown. He said, he was trying to play around that. With that fact, Shittu was also able to, tell him again that his report said it's still work in progress. Because when there was further recommendation, you did not do. When there were further reports, there were further or modern technology or techniques that could have been applied. It did not do. Then you now came out to say that the result is inconclusive. That means that your report is the one that is inconclusive, that could have generated inconclusive death. He tried to play around that. He did not accept. Then there was one of the representations stood up for cross-examination and asked him, was the autopsy done alone or as a group? He said it was done as a group in the presence of the IPO. Please get this fact. Okay. And one of the family members who happened to be Blessing, who is Mohbad's sister. And they asked that the drugs and substances found, did you subject it to further investigation to check if their negative effect would have led to Mohbad's death? He said no. They now ask him, another person asked him that if Mohbad's sample and body is being taken to another facility, or done by another pathologist and toxicologist, will they get the same report? He said yes, they will get the same inconclusive report. Toxicologist. Would it be another report? He said he doesn't know. He's not a toxicologist and he was not able to say. This is another part that got me afraid of Nigeria. And I will say it, and I will pray at this point to everyone, may Nigeria never happen to you. May Nigeria never happen to you. I'll say it again. May Nigeria never happen to you. Why did I say so? They ask these pathologists, what is the standard operational procedure for conducting an autopsy? He said, once they take the sample, how is the sample stored? They are stored in a bottle, put in a Ziploc, and handed over to the IPO. So when they take sample, they will take the sample and hand it over to the investigative police officer. That it is the IPO that will now take this sample to the lab. Let me explain our standard operation procedure for conducting autopsy in Nigeria. Okay, please. The pathologist pathologist will remove the sample. They will keep the sample in a bottle, in a ziplock, and hand it over to the IPO. It is the IPO that will now take it to the lab. Here is the question in the mind of the examiner, which later surfaced during the course of the cross-examination. Number one, after drilling the pathologist, how are you sure that the sample that was given was actually transported to the lab? Or the correct sample that was taken was the one that was transported? He said he doesn't know. They now ask him, how long does it take for a toxicology report to be ready? He said 2 to 3 weeks. They now ask him, how long did it take for Mohbad's report to be ready? He said they didn't get it until April. More than 4 months.
After September.
Or more than 6 months. To when 7 months to when he died. He said that, well, why, they're not asking that, does he know why? Since he said that toxicology report takes between 2 to 3 weeks to be ready. So why do you now have the reports after several months? He said that, well, when they took the sample, when the IPO took the sample to the lab, it waited there for 4 months. So before the government took that sample for test, it has sit in the lab for 4 months. And I pray again, may Nigeria never happen to you.
Amen.
May Nigeria never happen to anyone.
Amen.
Yeah, for 4 months, Mohbad's sample was sitting down in the lab before something was done. Can we talk about the, what will I call it now? Viability of the sample after 4 months? Can we talk about what the result will be? Something that was taken in 8 days. Because they asked the
as you are, sorry, can I just interject you there? As you are saying that also pray that may terrible family not be your portion, our portion. Because
thank you, yeah, I'm coming there.
okay, thank you. So I just thought maybe please.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for the input.
Yeah.
I'm coming there.
Yeah.
You see? Don't forget that for the pathologist, there are 4 branches of pathology. There's histopathology, there's semapathology, there's chemical pathology, and there's microbiology. That means that before you conclude on anything, you must have subjected the sample to these various, branches of pathology, so that you can come up with a good report. At the end of the day, the autopsy was done on the 21st of September. Police collected the sample on the 22nd of September, but they did not get the report until April 2024. Let's count down. October, November, December, January, February, March, April. 6 months. A report that was meant to have taken 2 to 3 weeks. And the sample was sitting unattended to for 4 months. Again, Barrister Shittu reiterated that the report was inconclusive, the report was still work in progress, and the process of submitting it to court is deceitful to deceive the court and divert our attention. Because everything that was done, you see, there is this guy from Attorney General's office who was trying to you collect the sample? They say it's collected in bottles and it's put in a zip lock. That means they lock it. You now ask them, if the lock is broken, would the lab collect it? He said no. At that point, he rested his case. So, for everything that was done on Mohbad, he said that the report was inconclusive, and he said that everything that was recommended to be done was not done. When they eventually said they did, which Pathologist put it to them, that the same toxicology you're talking about, just admit that you didn't do anything. You didn't do anything because the lab, the NMS lab, rebuked that you brought a sample to them at first. Secondly, you said the sample stayed 4 months. You cannot vouch for the viability. It maybe fresh samples could have been taken after 4 months. Do you understand?
Yeah.
But something that you have left unattended to for 4 months, we don't know how it was stored. Maybe it's still viable. You know, modern science could still make it viable. But the fact is that it stayed with them for 4 months unattended to. So at this point, we concluded, and other cross-examination that was also done was also around, all these questions. They established the fact that the wound on Mohbad's hand is superficial. That means that there is no puncture. And they asked him, Shittu asked a very important question, that could that cut lead to death? He said no, that the cut was too minor. It couldn't lead to death. Okay, somebody now asking a question, that when you conducted the autopsy, did you check the head, Mohbad's head? He said yes, he did. He said there was no cut to his head, there was nothing. They now ask him, okay, is it possible that if Mohbad has hit his head on the wall, maybe there's internal bleeding or anything? He said, well, if there was internal, he didn't say, he said if there was an injury to the head, he would have seen a crack. But they were asking him if there was an internal injury that might not have shown a crack, but had effects. He played around it like, no, there was actually nothing around the head. They now ask him again that in the videos we've seen online, we saw that Mohbad's neck was bent. And that was there, a damage to the neck area and so they said actually no. That the damage, as in because it was longer than the casket, so sometimes they might have to force the person in. But there was no damage, it didn't give account or a report on the neck. Even though it was crystal clear that the head was bent. And for the head to be that bent, it must likely be broken for it to be bent. He said there was no observation around the head and the neck. So he played around the truth. So before I go to the family matter, I would open the floor for questions so that any areas I didn't touch, your questions will help me juggle my memory and I can give you answers to it before we get to the family. Thank you very much.
Carry on. We are watching this super story. Just carry on. Parallel. We are following. We don't want to dilute it.
Okay. Okay. You see, my last submission after the last inquest, I made it so clear that my critical analysis of this whole event and the scenarios that were playing out, I said it in Yoruba. Muni nkorere kan kò lè ti Nazareth ìyá Mohbad jáde. I said it clear. In fact, you see the last time, a lot of people showed her empathy. But I liked what played out today. Everybody ignored ìyá Mohbad. And ojú tí gbogbo èèyàn fi ń wò, they were looking at her tàánú because it was all, shameful eyes ojú ìtìjú ló fi ń wò. Do you know that Wunmi came to the court with not less than 15 armed policemen? 15. And I like what some ladies did, even though it requires a lot of guts and effrontery. As she was stepping out of the court, even with the police behind her, they just started raking. They started heaping curses, calling her Shana, Bokojaye, blah, blah, blah. She offering Kabakaba, ran into the car. Do you know that Iya Mohbad followed Wunmi and go? May bad family not happen to you. See, over the weekend, I watched Karimo's confession. When Karimo said there was a time Mohbad was traveling and that on his way to the airport, his spirit was disturbing him. He went back to check his luggage and found that there was drugs in his bag. And he went back home. I cannot imagine what Wunmi is using to hold Mama Mohbad. That, because all through today, you see, people just look at Baba Mohbad and think that that man is all right. That man can never be all right. You need to see him. Tí ọ̀rọ̀ bá ti débì kan, wọ́n máa sorí kodò báyìí, and he will start shaking his head. You see, his actions, his spoken words. This man is in pain. This man is grieving. This man is dead inside. I will now tell you something that happened why the case was told. You see, there is this, I told you all the representations. There was a representation by the name Professor Smith, who came and said is interested party and is going to represent the public. Let me tell you why the magistrate did not admit Smith. Don't forget, there was representation from Nigerian Bar Association. There's representation from African Association of Women Lawyers. There is representation from the entertainment industry. Then there's representation for people who are not even members of the family. You see? We understand that an inquest is a public hearing. But the coroner said that Barrister Smith came after the coroner had proceeded nothing original. Before he came, that if they are going to include him in the current proceeding, it will be setting them some miles back. But since that the inquest is a public hearing, he's allowed to come into the court and tell questions, which is fair enough. The coroner does not know you. The magistrate does not know you. The magistrate is aware that the world is watching, and she is conscious of that fact. So the magistrate is not biased by saying that, hey, please come when you can come to the court at any point in time and ask questions. But not being satisfied, he went to High Court to seek a motion for stay of execution so